Okay, hello, welcome. My name's Sraddhagita, and this is me live from the London Buddhist Centre with a yoga class to boost the immune system. So I hope that you're getting yourselves ready. Grab your yoga mat. You've still got a few minutes to do that, maybe cushions or these blocks if you've got any. Yeah, and we're going to be doing some things to sort of give our immune system a little boost, which is good to do whether you are feeling well or, not so well. Yeah, but obviously, probably if you're not feeling well, you might not be able to do these poses. But yeah, the great thing about yoga is it does, if you have quite a varied practice, it can boost the immune system in lots of ways, because partly all the variety of poses and things that we do, but also because yoga has a positive effect on so many of the systems in the body, which I will say a little bit more about at 12 o'clock. But yeah, just get yourself set up. And I've got Polly here with me doing the tech, so thanks to Polly. Polly's been doing the tech quite a lot. We were just talking about that. And yeah, we really appreciate the tech support that we've had from Polly and Tara and their community, Narvakula, who live upstairs. It's been so invaluable just to have them here. We couldn't have done the classes without them. So yeah, big thank you to them.
My pleasure.
And do put a note in the chat where you're tuning in from. Near or far is great. Maybe let us know if you've been doing yoga before with us or not. It's just good to know if we've got new people tuning in or regulars, probably a mix of both, I imagine. But you're all very welcome, and it's great to see you. How many people have we got tuned in so far?
So far we have 10 people.
10 people, great. So the space here is probably about half full then. There's still room for more, so you've still got time. The great thing about doing yoga from home is you can, go really close to the wire, like 2 minutes, and you can still get there for 12 o'clock. Yeah, that's one of the good things about classes, Zoom or online like this. You don't have to leave home to get there.
Marina says, hi Sraddhagita, looking forward to today's class.
Oh, great. Hi there, Marina. Really nice to see you. So Marina's a regular yogi here on Friday evenings and other times. So great to see you, Marina.
And Thomas says hi from Dublin.
Thomas from Dublin, great, nice. Across the water, lovely.
And Mark says hi from Stepney.
And Mark from Stepney, hi there, Mark. Nice to see you from across the road. So we've got across the water, across the road, lovely. So you probably noticed we're starting to give our yoga classes titles, which is partly so you know what's coming up and also so you can differentiate between them. I think when we started, we didn't know how many weeks we'd be doing them for, obviously. And as the weeks have gone on, it's probably hard to look back and find the class maybe that you missed. So at least by giving them a title, you can easily look back. So as I said, this one is about immune boosting yoga. So yeah. We're going to be doing some poses to help do that today. How many people now?
We now have 14.
14, great. So 12 o'clock, I'm going to have to start soon. So if there's any latecomers, you might all rush in right at the last minute, and that's fine if you do. There's plenty of room for you to do that. And maybe Polly will tell me if lots of you suddenly appear, like if there's suddenly 30 people, that would be great. And it's always good to know. Yeah, because the great thing also about online is you can do a class which can feel quite intimate with just a few people, or, quite wide and broad with lots of people. But also, I think because people are tuning in from different places, that also means it's really wide and broad and expansive. Okay, so I will start now. So yeah, a warm welcome from me. My name's Sraddhagita, and today we're going to be doing a yoga class to boost our immune system. So I just wanted to say a few things about yoga and boosting the immune system. So as I said earlier, before some of you may have joined, one of the great things about yoga is that it has an effect on so many different systems in the body. So having a varied yoga practice can really help those systems. So one of the things that we do in yoga, for example, is we do work on our circulation, maybe through sun salutations. We build up heat in the body. And what that can do is it sort of gets rid of any excess, so excess of bile, phlegm, mucus, those kind of things, which clears those in the body. So that's one thing that we can do. There's also things we can do literally for our immune system, where we maybe do some things like twists, back bends, which stimulate, because they stimulate the gut, they actually stimulate the digestion and the white blood cells, which of course are really good for immunity. So we're definitely going to be doing some back bends and twists today. And also yoga, the quieter poses can really stimulate a sort of rest aspect of the nervous system. So you've got the sympathetic nervous system, which is very much fight and flight, and you've got the parasympathetic nervous system, which is very much about rest. So rest is also really important to include in your yoga practice, and that really calms the nervous system. And when the nervous system's calmer, our immune system can probably function much better. So that's another thing we're going to be doing. And we're also going to work a bit on the endocrine system, which is our hormonal system, but it's also linked in with the lymphatic system. And yeah, you'll see how we're going to work with that a little bit with some of the glands a bit later. So what we're going to do is a bit of a varied practice today. We're going to start actually with a pose that we started with last Friday, which is very good just to sort of stimulate the nerves in the feet and the legs, and actually has an effect on the whole body. So I'm just going to show you the pose, and we're going to start with that. So this pose is coming onto our feet, and if you've got some blocks, you might want to put your knees on some blocks. That'll make it a bit less intense. We're coming onto the toes and stretching the heels. But if you want a bit more intensity, you can just kneel and be on your toes, and you're going to get some quite strong sensations in the feet. So the feet have got lots of nerves in them, so this really stimulates those nerves, and also sort of has an effect, as I said, on the whole of the legs and the rest of the body. So we're just going to start with that, just to get some sensation, and I'm sure you can feel some sensation now. So we're just going to do 5 more breaths here, and if it's too much, do sort of make it a little bit easier for yourself by putting a bit of padding or even lifting the knees like this. But we're just going to do 5 breaths here now. So breathing in, breathing out, counting 1. Breathing in, breathing out, counting 2. Breathing in, breathing out, counting 3. Breathing in, breathing out, 4. Breathing in, breathing out, 5. Well done. Okay, and then just going to lean forward, and then very gently just tapping the feet, tapping the toes. After that, quite intensive stretch. And then, now we've got a little bit of sensation in the body, we're actually going to come to a seated position, and we're going to do just a little massage for our thymus gland, which is behind the sternum. So we're going to put our hands on this point, the breastbone really. And when you look down, we're going to actually give it a little massage. So we're going to do it in a clockwise direction. So just look down towards your chest, and then start to just give a little bit of a massage in a clockwise direction. So the thymus gland is a gland that's very much linked to the white T cells. So those are those really good white blood cells that we have that actually sort of manage to sort of chase off those rogue invaders that we get. So this is nice to stimulate that gland, just make it a little bit more sort of in our consciousness, and also give it a little massage. So just doing that. And this also gets stimulated through some of the poses that we'll be doing, like the Sphinx pose and some of the back bends. So you'll see that as we're going along. And then we're just going to let go of that and just sit for a moment, feeling that area in the sternum. And maybe I can still feel some sensations in my feet and my toes from that toe stretch. So just feeling those sensations, breathing with those sensations, and just already feeling how the body is affected by those two small yoga poses. And then opening our eyes, and we're going to, from here, from our seated position, we're going to do a gentle twist. So we're going to lift the arms and we're going to move over to the right. So bring the right hand behind us, left hand on the right knee, and just taking a gentle twist and a few breaths here. So let's do 3 breaths. 1, breathe in, breathe out. 2, and breathe in, breathe out. 3. And then keeping that left hand where it is, going to lift the right hand, might even walk this hand up a little bit actually towards our thigh, and just take a stretch. So keeping that right hip down, but taking a stretch towards the left. So we're just opening up that intercostal space and creating more space there, which will then affect our breathing. And breathing also affects our immune system. So if we can take long, slow breaths, breathing in a generous way, then that's going to affect our immune system in a really positive way. So these side stretches open up some of the breathing apparatus and just create more space. So then from there, we're going to move into Garuda arms or eagle arms. So I'm going to bring my left arm underneath, right arm on top, squeeze the elbows together. And then on the in-breath, I'm just going to lift the elbows up a little bit, hands away from the face. And then on the exhale, rounding, dropping the chin towards the chest, inhaling, lifting up, exhaling, coming back down. Inhaling, lifting up, exhaling, back down. And then releasing the arms. And we'll take a twist this time to the left. So reaching up with the arms, turning to the left, fingers like a teepee, right hand on left knee. 3 breaths here, breathing in, breathing out 1. Breathing in, breathing out 2. Breathing in, breathing out 3. And then walking this right hand up a little bit, lifting the left arm over into a side stretch. So again, creating length and space in the side body. A few breaths here. Well done. And then we're going to be doing the eagle arms again. So right arm underneath, left on top, squeeze the elbows and bring the hands together if you can. If you can't, you can have them back, parallel the backs of the hands together. And then on the inhale, lift the elbows, lift the hands away from the face. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift the arms, lift the chest. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift the arms, lift the chest, exhale round. Great. And then slowly releasing. And we're going to come on to all fours. Just coming on to the hands and knees. And just taking a few cat-cows. So on the inhale, lifting the sternum. So again, we're already stimulating the chest, the thymus gland, and then exhale round. Drawing the navel towards the spine as we exhale. Inhaling, lifting the chest. Exhaling, rounding. So just doing a few more in your own rhythm with this. But really letting the breath be generous. And then we're going to just come back up into a downward dog, or not back up, we're coming into a downward dog. We haven't been in one before. So just coming into a downward dog and just walking out our legs a bit here. And then slowly lowering ourselves down onto our knees and then coming into a Sphinx pose. So a couple of things just to consider is to sort of draw the arms back. It's like you're tractioning back, pressing the forearms and the hands down so that you can lift the breastbone a little bit more, lift the chest. Feet can be active, tops of the toes down, lifting the chest. If this feels a bit too much on the back, you could go a little bit lower. You could hold the elbows and still would be a little bit of lift in the chest. Another alternative is to place the palms together, bring the elbows out, which is quite nice. So we're just going to be here for a few breaths. And this tractioning of the arms also helps us to access the upper back. Great. And then we're going to lower ourselves down and come into our first locust pose. So the locust pose is a back bend. It's a strengthening back bend, and definitely it stimulates the digestion, so it will have an effect on our white blood cells and the gut. So we're going to bring the forehead down, arms behind us, lengthen out the legs. And then we're going to lift the legs, just the legs first of all, pressing the belly down. And then see if you can lift the chest, lift the arms. So you're shooting the heels away from the thighs, crown looking forward, so that the neck can be elongated. You want the muscles of the neck to lengthen rather than shorten. So if I lift my head up, those muscles shorten. If I let my crown reach forward, they lengthen. So a few breaths here. And then slowly release. Placing the fingertips down, we're going to come up into a mini cobra. So again, lift the chest. Fantastic. And then coming down again, hands on the ground and coming onto hands and knees and then coming up into the downward dog. So again, just walking the legs out a little bit here. And I can already feel where those poses have started to move the energy in the body. So just notice if that's the case for you. I can feel a bit more heat in my body, so the circulation. You don't always have to do loads of sun salutations to actually generate some heat in the body. But it is good to do a varied yoga practice and Hopefully this is varied enough. So we're going to step our right foot forward now into a low lunge. Left knee comes down, but let's keep the foot as it is. So not bringing the top of the foot down, but coming onto our toes. And then we're going to bring the hands onto the thigh. So just bringing the hands onto the thigh. Lovely. So we're starting to stimulate here, and again, lift the chest. And then we're going to keep the right hand there, and we're going to lift the left arm up. And again, come into a side stretch. So it's quite a strong side stretch here. If you want to, you could bring the hand behind the head and come into it that way. That could be quite nice as well. Couple of breaths. Great. And then hands down. And then step back into the downward dog. And then other side. So step the left foot forward, drop the knee. Establish that first of all. And then coming up, bringing the hands onto that left thigh. Great. And then lift the right hand up towards the left so that we're stretching that right side. And again, you've got this option, if you want to, of bringing the hand behind the head. And that can help to just open that whole right side from thigh right up the torso. And then slowly release, hands down, step back into the downward dog. And again, walking out the feet. And again, we're going to come into a locust, so drop the knees, come down, draw the feet behind us, arms behind us, pressing the pubic bone, the belly down into the ground, and then lifting the feet, lifting the arms, and remembering to look down. And these are strong poses. They strengthen the back, but they also stimulate the digestion. So a few more breaths here. And then slowly release. And then bring the arms into a cactus shape. So just check that the elbow's in line with the shoulder. That's really important in this pose. So then we're going to roll towards the right. So this is quite a strong opener for the chest. So my right leg is going to stay long, and I'm going to come onto the fingertips of my left hand. And then I'm going to bring my left leg behind the right. And this opens this whole part of the chest. It's quite a strong opening for the pectoralis muscles, and also opening for the chest, the sternum. It's having an effect on all of those different things. You might find you can straighten the leg, that's more comfortable, or it can be behind. Either is fine. And it's a deceptively strong pose, this one. So just going to roll out of it again now and come back to center. Just feeling that. Again, checking the alignment. And then we're going to roll this time to the left. And I'm going to come up onto the fingertips of my right hand, rolling to the left and bringing my right leg behind me. Or I can straighten it. Left leg is straight. And just feeling this opening in the front body. See if you can still take some generous breaths here. 2 more breaths. Great, well done. And then slowly rolling back And then again, coming into a low cobra. So have the fingers like spiders, fingers again, and then lifting the chest. And take a couple of breaths here. Again, generous breaths. Wonderful. And then slowly coming back, hands down, back into all fours, and then back into a downward dog. And then we're going to step forward with our right foot to the right hand, drop the left heel and windmill the arms up. And we're going to come into warrior two. So you might need to edge the toes forward a little bit, draw the outer edge of the back foot maybe around a little bit and make sure that's pressing down. And then really make sure that you've got enough space for that front knee, which is sort of moving out a little bit rather than moving in. And just check that you can see your toes. And then bring the hands to the heart, and we're going to try and radiate the arms out from the heart. So having that sense of the arms radiating, and then looking along that front finger, the middle finger of the front hand. Breathing here. And then we're going to come into reverse warrior, lifting the chest. But it's quite good to just put the hand on the hip, because this hip can easily come up a bit when we're doing the reverse warrior, when we turn our hand and lift the arm. So maybe place the back hand, the left hand, on the hip there as you lift. And think about, again, lifting the side, body, lifting those areas that we already were working on. And breathing. Great. And then bringing that hand, or that arm rather, onto the front thigh. And we'll come into side angle pose. So bring the left hand forward and lengthen there. If you prefer, you can also bring that hand behind the head as we did earlier in the lunge and turn the chest. That can be quite nice. So see what works for you, what feels best for your body. I'm quite enjoying it like this today. So I'm going to go with this, but do feel free to have a straight arm if that's better for you. Breathing, one more breath. Great. And then hands down, step back into the downward dog. And then knees, chest and chin. And rather than doing a sort of chaturanga, we're actually going to do another locust pose. So arms behind us, stretching out the legs. And then lifting arms, legs, crown, shooting forwards. And breathing, relaxing the face. And then coming back onto all fours and then downward dog. And then lifting, bringing the left leg forward to the left hand, dropping the right heel, windmilling the arms up into warrior two. So again, making any adjustments with the feet we need to, making enough space. And I'm lucky I'm looking at the Buddha. And then from our heart, think about radiating the arms out. And then looking along that front hand through the middle finger. Strong in the feet, drawing up energy from the earth in this pose. And at the same time, having a sense of radiating out through the heart. And then we're going to come into reverse warrior. So again, you might want to bring that back hand on the hip, the right hand, lift the left, and reaching up, looking up. 2 breaths here. And then coming forward, bringing the left elbow onto the knee, and then bringing the arm forward and alongside the ear for side angle pose. Or if you prefer, bringing the hand behind the head, lifting the elbow from there. So your choice, or you could have the arm up if that feels too much. So keep breathing here, drawing up energy from the earth and finding a little bit more opening in the chest. Great. And then turning again, hands to the ground, step back into the downward dog. And then again, knees, chest and chin, and we'll come back down into another locust pose. So these definitely build up some heat in the body. So just straightening out the legs, lifting the legs, lifting the arms, lifting the chest. Remember to keep the neck long, looking down, forward and down, and breathing. And just imagine that you are really stimulating your digestion, stimulating those white blood cells, and then slowly release. Hands down, back into downward dog. Great. And then walking the feet forward so we come into a front bend. So bend the knees a little, take hold of the elbows, and just letting the head release. You could also let the arms release if you prefer. It's almost like you're a waterfall, just releasing. And forward bends are really good for the lymphatic system because it kind of moves and flows and has an effect when we have our head upside down. So inversions are also good, like shoulder stands, headstands. We're not going to be doing those today, but front bending's also good. And then bring the arms onto the thighs and just bend the knees a little bit. And just give yourself a moment, because when we've been upside down, you can sometimes feel a bit lightheaded. So just take a moment. And then slowly you can roll up from there. And we're just going to take a moment again to just come into contact with the heart area, the sternum. So just standing still, feeling the body, feeling the heat in the body. Feeling the energy in the body and all the parts of the body that we've stimulated already. And then we're going to do a couple of sun salutations, and we can come down into a gentle plank, and then we're going to move into either locust or Dharanasana or bow pose, which I'll show you. So we're just going to do one on each side. So reaching up on the inhale, exhaling, release. Hands down, step the right foot back, left foot follows. Come into a plank, lower ourselves down, and then either you can come into this locust pose as we've been doing, or if you feel your back sufficiently warmed up, you can take hold of the ankles, or you could just have the hands moving in that direction, and then you can lift up from there. So lifting the chest, lifting the thighs, and again you'll feel this stimulation happening around the digestive area. And then release, coming back into the downward dog, and then step forward with the right foot, left follows. Lengthen the heart forward. Exhale, fold in, and then inhaling, circling the arms all the way up and bringing the hands to the heart. So we'll do that on the other side. Inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, step the left foot back, right joins, come into a plank, lower ourselves down, and then back into Dharana, bow pose, all locust, as we've been doing. So inhaling, lifting thighs, lifting the chest, relaxing the face, and pulsing a little bit. And then release, back through all fours into downward dog, and then step forward with the left foot, right follows. And then bring the chest forward, fold in, inhaling, exhaling, all the way up. Fantastic. So we've definitely stimulated a few of our white blood cells, I think. So we're going to come into another pose now, which is really good for this chest area, opening the chest. It's called Uttanasana, or camel pose. We're just going to do a sort of half camel, really. So how you start with this is you come onto your knees, and I'd suggest tucking the toes, because then there's a bit less of a gap to reach back for with the hand. And some people have got like a really good curved back. Other people's backs just aren't as mobile. So we'll work with it from this place today. So drawing the buttocks down, I sometimes find it useful to squeeze a block between my thighs, just to remind me to sort of squeeze there. So you want to have that sort of squeezed action, at the same time lengthening here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to reach back with the left hand to the left heel. And first of all, I'm just going to suggest that you look down at the mat and lift the right hand up. So that might be enough. And there's a nice opening here in the chest. If you want to take it a bit further, this might feel enough, and that's fine. You could also look up at that arm and breathe. And then to come out, you bring that top arm forward. So you bring the arm forward and you come up like that. So just feeling that opening. And then other side, so bringing right hand onto right heel, looking down first of all. And you can stay looking down, lifting the left arm up. And you'll feel that opening in the chest, squeezing the block. If you want to look up, you can look up. And then shooting that arm forward and coming up. So that's the half Uttanasana. You might want to try the full one, or you could carry on with the half one, and fine to do that. But I'm just going to demonstrate. So you could just reach back with one arm, then the other. And I'd suggest keeping the chin towards the chest for this and lifting the chest. So we're not throwing back our neck here, throwing back our head. Just breathing. So again, we're opening this whole area across the chest. And we're opening the belly, and we're bending the back. So it's a really good pose, quite a strong pose though. And then gently coming up. And then bring the buttocks onto the heels, and just sitting in Virasana, hero's pose, just for a few quiet moments. Breathing. You might want to now widen the legs a little bit and walk the hands forward, or you could have the arms stacked. You might want to come into a child's pose, coming into a forward bend. A few breaths here. And then sitting back up, taking your block again. We're going to come into a forward bend, just as an antidote to all the back bending. So if the hips easily draw, if you can easily draw up from the hips with the back, then you might not need to sit on something. But for a lot of people, to get that length in the back, it's really important to sit up on something. So you want to have that sense of the back lengthening, crown lengthening. And then we're just going to walk the hands forward. And you might find that this is enough, this edge here, or it might be that you can come a little bit further forward, bringing the chest down, but keep thinking about lengthening the back. So we're not rounding here like this, we're lengthening towards the feet. If we were lengthening, you might even be able to take hold of some of the toes or the ankles. Some people can bring their hands behind their feet, drawing the elbows out and bringing the torso towards the thighs. But getting the head down onto the legs isn't that important. It's just more important to feel the stretch, feel the body working. And you can also breathe up from the soles of the feet, breathe the shape of the pose. So breathing all the way up the legs, over the torso, through the arms, down to the hands. And feeling how breathing that shape can really support the shape. Great. And then release the hands, bring them back. And then we're going to come on to our back now as we move into the more restful, calming elements of the practice. So coming back onto our back and having the feet about hip width apart. First of all, we're just going to let the knees drop a little bit from side to side in a moving twist. So as the knees drop towards the right, we let our head and torso move towards the left. As they drop towards the left, we turn the head, let the torso move towards the right. So just doing a few of those. Nice to do a few fluid twists after working on back bends. And then just going to take hold of, if we've got blocks, we could take hold of those. Or if you're near a wall, you might want to go and just put your legs up against the wall. That's a really restful pose. And again, it's a really good pose for the nervous system. If you haven't got a wall though, you might have some blocks or cushions, and it's really nice to put them under the sacrum. So you don't want them on the lumbar, you want them on that bony sacrum bit, and you'll feel that. You don't want it going into this lumbar area. Then you can hold the blocks or the cushions, and if you want to, if you're not used to doing this, you might want to just bring one leg up and down a little bit, just stretching out the legs. Or you could bring both legs up and just give the legs a little rest. So if you are against a wall, it's really nice because the legs can just be supported. This is a nice pose to do if you ever can't sleep, for example. And it just, again, creates movement in the body, the flow of blood and lymphatic flows, and it's just very restful. So just being up here for a few breaths. And then slowly bringing the legs down. If you are against a wall, you might want to stay for a bit longer, and you're so welcome to do that. If you're on blocks and just in the middle of your mat, then ease out the blocks and let the lower back come down now. And then stretch out the legs for Shavasana. Just going to lie in Shavasana for a short time, and you might want to have a hand on the chest and one on the belly. Consciously breathing and giving the body now a chance to rest and absorb the practice that we've done. And you can feel the breath underneath the hands, the warmth of the body. And you'd be so welcome to just stay there for a bit longer, either with the arms alongside the body, or one on the heart area, one on the belly, or with your legs up the wall. But if you do need to move, if you are working to the 45 minutes, then good idea to start to just bring a gentle amount of movement into the toes and fingers and stretch a little bit. And then it's also good to roll up from your side, so letting yourself curl, knees curl towards the chest, and then coming up from there. And then we'll take a seated position. And just again, feel, if you have moved, feel the body in this new seated posture. Feeling any differences in the body from the yoga, openings, maybe in the chest and heart, back. I'm going to read you a poem by Wendell Berry called The Peace of Wild Things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars, waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. So, slowly opening our eyes. Thank you very much for joining me today for the immune boosting yoga. And if you keep doing yoga, it definitely will boost your immune system, as I said, because it works on so many different systems. But really important to rest. So resting in the grace of the world. Lovely line from Wendell Berry. Don't forget to rest and take time. So thanks again to Polly for being the tech support today. And thank you to all of you for joining me and continuing to join us here at the Buddhist Centre. We really appreciate it. And as we usually say at the end, we offer all these classes freely. And yeah, they're like real offerings which you can partake in and digest really. But if you are able to give in any way, which will help us to continue to offer these classes in this way to more and more people, then please do that. There's a link that you can click on to give either a single or monthly donation. And anything that you're able to give will be really, really appreciated. So yeah, thanks. And I really hope you have a great rest of the day and hope to see you soon. And I hope the yoga gives you a really good boost.